journey. But it's really hard as parents, particularly as mums who have been raised to be the carer and the protector and the do it all and the know the best way to do it, and to step back and to allow them to make have their own journey. And the other thing I've come to realize is there are things that are really, really important that I encourage and support them to do a certain way. And there are things that don't really matter.
Yeah.
If they don't want to put their washing away in their cupboard and just take it off the floor or out of the basket, clean in their room, it's their room and their washing. Why do I care? Why am I hung up on that?
That's definitely one battle I've definitely gotten over. It's their room. But it's interesting. If I take care of my room, I notice they take more care of their room. I have noticed that trend. That you really have to practice what you preach if you want them to follow it. And even if they still have to find their own way. I've mentioned Carol Tuttle before. She's got a book out called The Child Whisperer. And there's one example that she gives, a couple of examples, but one of them was this laundry thing. And she says some kids are good at folding it and putting it in the drawers, but some kids need to visually see it. It's just their personality type. So they're better off having bins on the floor to put their laundry away in. And so what system you may think works for you doesn't work for them. So maybe it's not, it's on the floor. Maybe it's they need bins on the floor because they just want to be able to see. They want to go through. They want to feel. They want to be able to. That's just how they are. So there's a different way to organize it than maybe the traditional way you're used to doing it. That will work for them. But you have to be willing to explore that. You have to be willing to give room for that as well. And then ultimately they figure out what works for them.
And it leads to the house becomes so much more harmonious.
Mm-hmm.
Because everybody is considered and everybody understands everybody and everybody is compassionate.
Hi, it's Tiffany Lorraine Galloway, certified high performance coach with another episode of the Resilient Mother podcast. And with me today, I have Eva Rado as my guest. Eva, thank you for being here. Please tell us a little bit more about you.
Oh, Tiffany, first of all, thank you for inviting me to be on the show today. I'm very, very excited. I have been running businesses for over 20 years, been in small business and entrepreneurship. And I did that. I left my career in the corporate world because I wanted to be that kind of stay-at-home mum, but we couldn't afford for me not to work. So this was going to be the answer. But like many of my peers, I found that being the at home, working from home, running my own business, stay at home mum, it was really, really simple for my family to just expect that I was available to do all the things that needed to be done around the house. And I had that same expectation of myself. I was guilty of being, he's out of the house so many hours, he works, he come home on the train, he's tired, can't really ask him to cook dinner, it's not fair. I carried it. And I had tried all sorts of different strategies and fixes and systems to allow my family to step up and help me around the house, all of the chore charts and the sticker rewards, and all it did was turn me from slave mum into police mum, because then I was having to remind them to check the chart, and if they've done their job, remind them to put their sticker. And I was it didn't actually unload my mother load in any way.
I've tried all the things too. The reward jars, the win the points to get the reward. We've done it all here too.
Absolutely. And what actually ended up happening for me was that I ended up in actual burnout. And as I climbed out of that burnout and started to assess how it is I got there, my upbringing, the things I'd heard and seen in my own house that I had taken on, the expectations of us as mums in this day and age, in this current economic climate, all of that, and I started to realise that had to be a different way, because what I was doing and trying wasn't working. And so I developed for my own home a system and a process that allowed me to let go of my mummy martyrdom and to onboard my family and recruit them to the household management team. So now we actually operate our house. The whole household management is a whole household responsibility.
Delegation.
Actually, I hate that word, Tiffany. It's not about delegation. Okay. No. It's only because delegation is another Band-Aid fix. Because when you delegate, You're only offloading the task for right now. You're getting it off your plate for right now. But who's the one that's going to check that it got done?
You.
Yeah. And who's the one that's going to fix it when it wasn't done properly?
Mom.
And who's going to got to remember when it has to happen so that they can delegate it every single time? Mum. So it doesn't unload your mother load in any way.
Oh.
What you
and my poor mom.
Yeah.
You made me think of my mom. My mom had 6 kids in 8 years. And so she tried like the charts where we were in charge of rooms and different things. And she had a mom who was very good at that, like was just mom and home and did the square meals and all of that. And I think my mom tried to hold herself to the same standard, but that wasn't really realistic for her. And so us kids caught on that if they didn't do the dishes on their day, they didn't do the dishes on their day, and they didn't do the dishes on their day, by about the 4th day, mom would just give in and do the dishes. So we all just stopped doing the dishes.
It's what happens in every house.
Yeah. And I felt bad, but we caught on. And then the other thing that was probably the deterrent was we would do it our way, but it wouldn't be good enough for her. She'd want to come in and teach us how to do it even more refined, even more detailed. And that got frustrating. And one thing that's helped me with my kids is I've recognized that some of them enjoy certain chores more than others. And so if that's what they like, cool, that's your job. And like, there's things that I do, like they don't really like doing the dishes. So that's kind of mama's thing. And one likes doing the bathroom. So that's her thing. And one's a little bit better at organizing the laundry. So we've started to kind of find more of a harmonious way of working with each other's strengths or what we like to do to keep the household going as a team, that it's our house, that it's our space. And it's interesting because downsizing has actually helped even more with that, because we moved from a townhome to an apartment. We're all on one floor now. Everything we do affects each other. And so one person not doing their part, it does affect everybody else. And it's been good. So those are some things that are working, but I'm interested to hear your perspective on that.
You've hit the nail on the head. You've used the most fantastic language, and I love all that empowered language. You know, we play to our strengths in the house. We're compassionate and considerate of what each other likes to do and doesn't like to do. We are all working to keep the place comfortable and safe for everybody else in the house, because we all impact each other. And I say to my clients all the time, there are like 4 or 5 of you living in the house. You're not the only one, Mum, that is dirtying the dishes, wearing the clothes, traipsing the dust and dirt into the house. So why is it all up to you to keep it safe and comfortable for everybody else?
Yeah.
And just going back to what you were saying about your mum's system and how you all worked it out, that even when you did do the dishes, you didn't ever do it up to scratch on purpose. This is the other thing as mums, that we have this idea of perfectionism. We've got to have the magazine perfect home. If anybody just happened to turn up, everything has to be perfect and in its place. But it's just causing extra overwhelm and stress and mother load.
Oh, yeah. And no one ever comes when that's clean. They always come to check what's going on. They never come when
it's just finishing clean.
I posted on social and here's a picture. Because it's going to stay that way.
That's right. Yeah. And then more than that, also what happens, Tiffany, is that we have this perfectionist expectation of our family, and we might have been doing it for 10 or 20 years and worked out the best, fastest, easiest way to get the chore done, to get the task done.
Yeah.
They're doing it for the first handful of times, and we're hovering over them, telling them they're doing it wrong. They're never going to want to take on the responsibility and do it.
Yeah.
So it's really important, further to what you were saying, working out what each person's strengths are and likes, and making it so that you work together as a team, but also just stepping back and giving space for them to make their own mistakes, explore the best way that works for them, so that it still is satisfactory for everybody else in the house.
Yeah. And ownership that it's our house, it's our space, 100%. Instead of this is my house, and while you're in my house, you're going to do this in my house. I remember one time too, my mom joking, someday I'm going to come and I'm going to mess up your house and I'm going to jump on your cushions and do all the things you did as a kid to my house. And I'm like, what are you talking? Now I get it. I get what she's saying now, but But we don't have that problem in my home because we don't hold this unrealistic expectation, because I hated growing up with that. I mean, I've shared the story once before on here, but I remember being about, I think, 11 years old. And I was tired of our whole Saturdays being cleaning the house, because if we hadn't done it during the week and mom was really fed up, then we were spending all Saturday doing it. And we didn't go out. We didn't go to the park. We didn't do anything. And I knew sometimes we were tight on money with some of my parents' businesses, and depending on what was going on, I was aware enough of that as the oldest child anyway, that one Saturday I had this brilliant idea, and I got up before everyone and I did everyone's chores. And in my mind, if I did that, it would free us up to go somewhere and do something fun together with mom for the day. But here's what happened. Mom got up. I'm all excited. I'm so proud of myself. I'm like, look at it. And she went around to each room and pointed out was not done. And we still ended up spending the whole day. That had become the routine and what we were used to doing. And it was like, there was no getting out of that. And I still to this day don't understand that. So there are definitely times I have let my place go a little bit in the sake of, I have my kids through this period of time, and I'm not going to obsess. We're going to run our household. We're going to have order, definitely. But not to the point that we're not enjoying this time with each other, that we're not getting out of the house to do things, that we're not playing games, that we're not cuddling for a movie because, there's a pile of laundry over there, or there's dishes that can wait till tomorrow. That's where my heart is with it now. So.
And I love that, and that takes a real strength to break away from what was modeled for you, and to have that realization. And it is one of the things I say quite often: the dishes aren't going to grow legs and run away. They'll be here when we get back from the park, right? So but that's also an opportunity for a collaborative conversation. Look, I get the weather's good, we want to go to the park, but there are still a pile of dishes. So I'm happy to come and take you guys to the park. Will you guys be happy to be around and do the drying up while I wash up the dishes afterwards, so that we get more time at the park? And that's the natural consequence, right? Yeah. We can have more time at the park if you agree to being part of the task afterwards.
I think that's another key thing that I've noticed too, is like, when we're doing it together, it gets done faster. Not, hey, you go do the dishes, you go do this, and we're doing them separately. That doesn't usually go as well. I mean, when they have tasks like, okay, come home, do homework and do this, and then you can have TV time or whatever, that kind of works for that. But like when there's things that our goal is to get to the park, our goal is to get to go to a movie, our goal is to get to go out to do something, it's better to like put on some music and do it all together and make it fun. And then it's like this much, much better experience. And it's funny because I didn't know this, but my teenager sometimes will want to stay behind at home. And a few times she surprised me and I come home and the place is clean. Well, what I didn't know is while we were gone, she's blaring music like the fun times when we were cleaning. So I was like, oh, okay, this is part of what we need to make this fun. We need music as part of it. And it totally changes it, because I think we forget that we have the power to bring the joy into every activity that we have. Like I would say, I don't totally love doing the dishes, but it is the thing that is my thing at our house. I will say I'm the one who does the dishes. My kids seem to have very sensitive skin, and so the soap really irritates their hands if they're the ones scrubbing them. And so even with gloves, it's like, nope, mom, apparently for some reason I need to be the one doing that. And so I do have to put some music on or a little something just to like, or reward myself with a little chocolate or a little something after, but that's me. And I have to know what my incentives are. And how are my kids going to know what motivates them or helps them? Because they're going to have their own house someday. I don't like to put that shadow on them, but I like to go, well, how are you going to like to do this someday? And then my kids too have two different households. Like my girls go to their dad every other weekend and have time with him on different holidays. So they don't do things the same way that I do things. There's actually more kids there than there are here. And so I've also accepted, okay, so learn from us both. Take the best of each household and make it your own. I'm not offended by that. There are certain things at your dad's house that can happen because they're a couple and there's more kids. That is not going to happen over here as single mom with less people involved. But you can decide, which system or which parts of it you want to own and that you want to implement someday. And I really try to be proactive about letting them have a voice and letting them have that choice and realize they have the choice.
That is so powerful, and like, yeah, that fits the theme of strength, because that takes a lot as a human being to allow the people that you're raising to explore and do it their way. It is their journey, but it's really hard as parents, particularly as mums who have been raised to be the carer and the protector and the do it all and the know the best way to do it, and to step back and to allow them to make have their own journey. And the other thing I've come to realize is there are things that are really, really important that I encourage and support them to do a certain way. And there are things that don't really matter.
Yeah.
If they don't want to put their washing away in their cupboard and just take it off the floor or out of the basket, clean in their room, it's their room and their washing. Why do I care? Why am I hung up on that?
That's definitely one battle I've definitely gotten over. It's their room. But it's interesting. If I take care of my room, I notice they take more care of their room. I have noticed that trend, that you really have to practice what you preach if you want them to follow it. And even if they still have to find their own way. I've mentioned Carol Tuttle before. She's got a book out called The Child Whisperer. And there's one example that she gives, a couple of examples, but one of them was this laundry thing. And she says some kids are good at folding it and putting it in the drawers, but some kids need to visually see it. It's just their personality type. So they're better off having bins on the floor to put their laundry away in. And so what system you may think works for you doesn't work for them. So maybe it's not, it's on the floor. Maybe it's they need bins on the floor because they just want to be able to see. They want to go through. They want to feel. They want to be able to. That's just how they are. So there's a different way to organize it than maybe the traditional way you're used to doing it. That will work for them. But you have to be willing to explore that. You have to be willing to give room for that as well. And then ultimately they figure out what works for them.
And it leads to the house becomes so much more harmonious.
Mm-hmm.
Because everybody is considered and everybody understands everybody and everybody is compassionate, and you can work in a collaborative way to solve the difficulties and the problems around the household management, things that aren't working for one person, and come to a collaborative resolution for it. And the beautiful thing about that is that when you work that way as a household and everybody has some buy-in, they're more than happy to take on the responsibility, and it's no longer a chore to wash the dishes. It's just part of being a member of the household.
Yeah. And that cooperation step, it's a chore, it's a rule. This is part of being my family. And I think some things that happen with that too. I love a coach named Anthony Trucks through Growth Day. He talks about how his family has a mission statement and a family motto, and that those are the other ways that they stay motivated as a family is we are a family of this, or these are our words. And are we doing that? Are we living up to that as a family? Being able to give your family a little bit of a higher purpose, or this is what makes us unique. This is who we are, I think is important. So for our house, I think some of the keywords are being creative, being curious, and being kind, I think would be the ones that would probably fit our household. But you probably have your own, but having those around and having those keywords to come back to, especially if they help with the mission statement, then they own it too. Then you can come back to that. Correct. And you can go, wait, we said our family is this. Are we living up to that with this choice, or how we're managing the house, or how we are interacting with each other right now? Are we honoring that kindness and that compassion piece of who we've decided our family is? But I think the curious part too is important. I think today that's almost a cure-all for so many things, gratitude and curiosity, those two things. Because when we're grateful for what we have and we're willing to get curious about what solutions are, or to go deeper and to understand people better, and to be, okay, we have this issue with communication, or we have this issue with certain chores, or the way your room is, or if we're willing to be grateful for, hey, you're trying, thank you. But let's get curious about what are some other ways we can deal with this? What are some other ways you think? Or my daughter got in trouble not that long ago, and I'm like, so what do you think the consequence should be? How long do you think you should this consequence go on? After she realized, the magnitude of what had happened at the time. And it was, that ownership was better because she agreed with me in the end, instead of me being this is the consequence. It's yeah, that fits about right for what I did and what happened. And It just was more of a collaboration of, did you learn your lesson? Okay, I'm glad you learned your lesson. We still need to follow this consequence through and just know what will happen next time if it ever gets to this point again. And that was so helpful to have that conversation and not have it turn into like a fight or, Mom, you're being unfair, blah, It was like, this was the rule. This is where you broke it. This was the arrangement. We're not negotiating the arrangement. And it's so hard with a really smart one. I swear, my one could be a lawyer with all of the rebuttals she comes back with. And they're all very logical. They all make sense. And it's like, what? I think that's the toughest personality, is the ones that just are so smart that they're like, they think they can find a way to renegotiate what's already in place, and then keeping boundaries with them, they push them to. Of course, I have a teenager, so of course the boundaries are going to get pushed a bit there. And that balance of, I want to honor our relationship, but I'm the parent. I'm not your friend. I am your parent. That is different. But the other thing I have to come in with is just my intention, like the intention of, I'm saying this to you because I love you, or I'm saying this because this is a general rule that's good for everyone. I'm not picking on you. I'm trying to set you up for success because I believe in you, because I see your potential. I think a lot of youth need more of that today. They got enough things weighing them down. They don't need a parent on top of it. And it's not discipline, it's teaching. I think that's the big difference that we need to differentiate, is we're teaching them how to be human beings. We're teaching them what potential they have and who they can be. We just discipline and discipline and discipline. We're just creating trauma and years of healing they're going to have to do later.
No, 100. And we had to do, and that's 100%. Like, you're 100%. And I love that curious is one of your keywords in your house, because I think that's a big key to the mother unload, is being curious, and not just I'm curious what you think the solution is, but even going deeper. I can see that you're upset. Have I got that right? I'm curious to know, what are you actually feeling? What has actually caused this? What I want to get to know you. If I was in this situation as a 17-year-old, I imagine that I would feel like this, but I'm not you. So I want to know what it is for you. And I feel like that's the next step in parenting evolution. Years ago it was, you just tell the kids what they've done wrong and you tell them how to fix it. And then it became, oh no, we've got to acknowledge their feelings. I can see that you're sad. Shall we put on a movie to make you feel happier? And that didn't actually, there's that missing piece.
And sometimes our sad is not their sad, if that makes sense. Like, our happy is not their happy. Our regret is not their regret. Our upset is not their upset. And so they need to be able to put their own words on it. That's giving them their voice. It is so important that they have their own voice, especially in today's world when there's so many opinions that want to be put on you. You have to be so solid as an individual going out into the world. If this works for me, this is what does not work for me. But if we're not exploring that on a deeper level with our kids, we're never going to even know who they are when they go out that door. And I find that so true right now with my two girls, especially. They're going through all those emotional parts of preteen, teenager. And when I stop and we have the car ride, or that opportunity that lets us really talk, and I do more listening than I do talking, I find out there's some situations or things going on I had completely wrong, or I just heard this bit about a friend and it made me worry about that friend. And then, oh no, they're actually a good kid. They were just going through something. And then my kid was a really good kid, being compassionate to them. And then, so listening, you find out a whole lot more about them than jumping to some conclusion or labeling it for them.
That's exactly right. And I do the same thing around the household management, because we think we know why they can't put their dish in the dishwasher. We think we know why they don't fold their own washing, or put it away, or whatever the situation, I've got a big one in my house. I'm the only one that notices that the hanging washing is dry, and it can be 3 days while I wait to see, and then I'm still the one that folds it, right? Like, that takes it off the air. But I can imagine that I know the answers of why they don't notice it, or why they can't open the dishwasher and put their plate in. But that's just my making up the story and my assumption from my life experience. When I stop and say, it's not working for me that the dishes all get left on the bench and none of you open the dishwasher, I'm curious what's stopping you from doing it. And each person will have a different answer. One will say, it's just too icky to touch the dirty dishes and put them, I can't do it. And the other one, like it's a sensory thing. And the other one will be the dishwasher stinks. I never know when it's freshly emptied and got nearly full and I'm just too scared and it just smells, right? And so it's different things. And my perspective, I'm like, you're just being lazy. You're just leaving it to me. It's all up to me, which fuels my mummy martyrdom. But when I stop and get curious and regain the strength in the communication and the relationship by being curious and stepping in and actually wanting to know, two things happen. It changes my perspective and I can help them find a solution to it that works for both of us. But it means that they feel heard. And when they need to share something, they will believe that they will be heard.
Absolutely. And then they take so much more ownership in the solutions as well. I really love that example. One word that you said that really stood out to me, because we've had another guest on here that talks about household management, and she said the big thing was getting people to, or maybe it was something I read. I don't know, I'm doing a lot of episodes right now for this year. But it was the word notice, like getting them to notice when something needs done. Like that hadn't even occurred to me before. I notice when something needs done. Do they notice when something needs done? Or at what point do things have to be at for them to notice?
Them to notice.
Did I ever teach them to notice when the dishes need unloaded?
It's a habit. It's a habit you've developed because you're mum, because you were raised with this preconditioned societal gender bias that it's going to be your job, so you've got to notice it. But it is a habit. And it's a lot of the household management, a lot of the transitioning it to a whole household responsibility, a lot of the work I do is about building the habit. Building the habit of stepping back and allowing them to have their way of doing it and teaching and encouraging them how to build the habit of noticing, of doing, of, and one thing I've noticed very often, Tiffany, if I go away or if I'm sick and stuck in bed, everything gets done in a timely manner.
Oh, that sounds
really
nice.
Well. Oh. Right? Yeah. It'd be really good if I just moved out of the house, right?
Wow.
They would do really, really well.
All right, ladies, nowhere in the solution.
Yeah. The minute they come back, right? The minute I come back and I'm in the house, oh, mum's here. I don't have to do it anymore. I don't have to notice anymore. I don't have to be aware anymore.
But at least they're aware. That's interesting. Because it would be the opposite for some.
And this is the thing that gives me hope when this happens with my clients, because I've had this with my clients and they come and they complain. The minute I step back in the house, everyone stopped doing everything and it was all up to me again. And I look at it the other way. I go, so now you've got the evidence that they're capable.
Yeah.
Now you've got the evidence that they do notice. So it's not that they're not noticing, it's that they're subconsciously leaving it to mum. And then that's where you have to start having the conversations and that collaborative communication that lets them know actually what is the impact on me that you leave it to me, and what does that mean for the impact on you and our relationship. If I am doing everything because you're not noticing because I'm here, then I'm tired and I'm grumpy. So when you need a lift to your boyfriend's place, guess who's too tired to get in the car? Right? Yeah. And that's the natural consequences. But consequences aren't always bad either. Consequences are positive too. So when I was talking about before, when they come and they say, we really want to go to the park, we really want to go to the movie, and you say, look, there's a pile of dishes. What time is the movie? Great. If we all pitch in right now and get these dishes done, we can be out the door in 5 minutes and we'll come home and there'll be nothing left for us to do except relax when we get home. Then the natural consequences are positive. They've pitched in, we've all done the dishes, and still a consequence. It's just not negative. We've got this negative connotation on that word.
I think we have to be careful there, because if the perfectionist kicks in, it won't just be enough that the dishes are done. Like it'll be the dishes and the floors and the living room and this and this and that before we can settle. And we don't reward for like at least one thing being done. And my daughter had to point that out to me one time. She was like, but you just said if we did this, now you added something else to it, and you just added something else to it. And I stepped back for a second. I'm like, Yeah, why am I doing that? No, that's just because you're on a roll doesn't mean I get to take advantage of the fact you're on a roll. That's not right. So,
that's mummy martyrdom and mummy perfectionism. That's what I call that.
oh, yeah, absolutely. But I love that she had a voice to tell me and to point it out to me so that I could go, oh, wait a minute, you're right. Okay. So.
And how empowering for her that you were strong enough to say, actually, you're right. And I've done wrong here, and thank you for calling me out on it.
Yeah,
like that's brilliant mothering. Do you know what I mean? Like from my perspective.
Well, and I don't know if everybody thinks about it that way because I don't know. At least I was raised with like it was such a power struggle. It was I'm in charge, I'm the adult, do what I say, and I know they were raised that way, and I have compassion for each generation does better than the next, but it was so disempowering not to feel like I had a voice, not to feel like I could trust myself or I could develop my own way of doing things. I would literally do them their way just to be left alone, even if it meant taking a little extra time to get down to the details that my mom expected. At least once it was done, I usually got left alone because there were 5 other kids to go after in the household. Yes. Or I could go to my activity or I could get out of the house. And then I, left home 3 days after graduation with the determination I was never coming back. And I never quite understood why I was just gung-ho. I'm done. I'm out of here. I don't want to be here. And now as I've gone back and I've decided what patterns to keep, which ones not to keep, and I've done that work, now I understand why I didn't want to be home. And so I have a deep desire that, 1, my kids want to have a relationship with me when they're adults, and 2, that I'm making a different home, that it is safe, and that sometimes we can be a little lax because we can be, because we're human and we're on break or something like that. At the same time, it's a safe space with boundaries and with guidelines and with opportunities to prepare them for real life someday. And I think as a single parent, I'm probably been forced to do that more than when I was married and I was still caught up in I have everything to do and I'm not working, so I'm the homemaker, so I got to do all these things because I've got to contribute in this way. Whereas when I shifted into being a single mom, it really became, okay, what is the top priority? So I only have so much energy. I only have so much to give. And I can't necessarily do it all like I was doing it before or to the same extent. It's just not humanly possible. And I think some people are going, wait, what? And it's like, it's okay. The important things still happen. The important things that matter most still happen. And it's kind of like I have a need to happen list and I have the would like to list, and they still get hit on now and then, depending on what's going on. And the way I manage my time, my household definitely helps. But you're only human, and that's okay. They're only human, and it's okay.
And you can only do the best that you can do at the time. It's when you recognize that the mother load that you're carrying is impacting your well-being and your relationship with them. And whether that's because, you've been through burnout, whether it's because you've suddenly found yourself as a single mum and you're not the home keeper, and you're not the stay-at-home mum anymore with an income, you've got to go out and get there. Whatever it is, the situation, the difficulty is that there are a lot of mums out there that haven't had that turning point happen, and they just keep going the way that they've been preconditioned to behave and don't know how to let it go and don't know how to find the strength in themselves to make the transition. And they don't trust in themselves. They don't trust in their family's capabilities. And they just don't know how to, they're looking for those Band-Aid fixes and they don't work.
Yeah, it sounds like they need to be more curious.
Yes, they definitely need to be more curious.
Yes. Well, and I think I've said this on here before too, is just, you don't have to hit rock bottom before you decide to make a change. You don't have to get to some extreme to just go, you know what? Something needs to change. And that starts with yourself, and then it starts with the rest of the household. But it's no shame to ask for help from a coach, or sometimes the answer to your prayer is someone else. Sometimes that answer is, well, what are you doing about it? What is your contribution to it? And those are humbling things, because it's not, blame is never a good thing. And that can happen in the house a lot with families where we blame something or someone or circumstances or past generations even. And that gets us nowhere too, because it's a victim mentality, and it doesn't need to be that. And we have solutions here for you on the Resilient Mother podcast. There's episodes here of all sorts. This one today I've enjoyed very much, as it's given me a lot of hope and perspective on, I've tried a lot of things. It sounds like some things are working better than I even realized. So it's nice to have these conversations and realize you are getting some things right. And if you're not, here's some room for improvement, or here's another strategy, or here's another tool. But you're doing enough. If you care, that says a lot about you as a mom. If you're listening to something like this, that says a lot about you. And just know that you have everything that you need. It's just a matter of maybe changing the focus or the priority or a system or a strategy or finding a coach or a mentor to get you to that next level that is inside of you, that is calling to you. So you can be the resilient mother you always wanted to be, no matter what circumstances you face, no matter what you're looking at or dealing with, even with your kids or your life. Thank you so much for being here. Can you please tell us where people can find you if they want to work with you?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm on both Facebook and Instagram at Eva Rado.com, all one word. And I have a website as well, evarado.com. But the link that is under here on my name, the /mother-un-load, is a free resource that I have for those wanting to start on this journey and wanting to explore how capable their family is, where in their home is a good place for them to start, where their mindset is at, and also goes a little bit deeper into that whole concept of curiosity and how to really embody it on a day-to-day basis in your home.
And if you're listening to the audio and you're like, I'm not seeing you on video, so I don't know what this link is, don't worry. It'll be here somewhere in the text, in the caption. It will be here so that you can find that resource. We love to give these things to you. Thank you for being here today and listening. God bless you. I believe in you. Believe in yourself. And we'll see you on the next episode of the Resilient Mother Podcast.
Thank you for joining us today. Please don't forget to subscribe so we can share this message. We are a worldwide podcast with guests all around the world, and we want to continue to grow this community. You can find us on socials. You could also be a guest. Look for that link below if you'd be interested in being a guest on the podcast. If you know a sponsor or would like to be a sponsor, please reach out to me or Catherine as well.
Sure. We want you all on this journey. We want to hear your stories. We want to share your stories. We want to gain strength from each other, because together we're stronger. And to never forget the blessing of being a mother and what we're creating. We're creating the future every single day of our lives. So get on this train with us and let's do this thing, moms.
I believe in you. Believe in yourself. God bless. And we'll see you around. Take care.